All right, let's start with our team previews.
Let's go.
Unless anybody has anything else to say.
No, 12 minutes in. We have nothing else to say. Let's go.
All right. So,
one more thing. No.
our first team is the Anaheim. Do I say Mighty Ducks?
I think not the
No,
other.
they're just-
I know they're not
Are
Mighty.
they the Mighty Ducks?
Are they
they're
back
just-
to being the Mighty
they're
Ducks?
They're just the Ducks. But let's talk about their new uniform a little bit.
Listen.
They brought back the Ducks uniform, like the Mighty Ducks uniform.
Yeah, I'm just not crazy about the orange.
I love it. I love it. Let me ask you a
the
question.
full orange with the gold. I don't know. It's
Okay, but what team in the Western Conference has that color scheme?
none.
There you
Hey,
go.
no, it's not a bad idea.
Because Philadelphia has an orange on the eastern side, and I find that there's a lot of these blues. Like Vancouver has a navy blue and a black. Utah now has a baby blue. Like
Listen,
there's so many blues. I like the fact that this is different.
I think the marketing team deserves a pay raise for how they introduced it with the type of like the Seattle Kraken with the eye of the duck and stuff like that.
Yeah,
the
like
way
the
they did it on
teasers.
social
Yeah.
media, the teasers, it was amazing. I listen. To me, the brighter the better. It's different. It's good.
Different is good.
Yeah,
Different is
good. Absolutely.
And I think that fan
Different-
base needs that.
Different yet going back in time
But
at the
that's
same
it.
time.
So
right?
they brought a little
Retro.
bit back of that retroness, and they threw a really bold color at it as well. So I like it. I personally like it. At the beginning, I was a little bit squeamish because I was saying to myself, but what about those greens and the teals and the, you know what? San Jose is there. Like everybody has these colors now. Let's do something different. I love the Anaheim Ducks new logo and color scheme.
All right.
Love it.
Let's do a deep dive here in the Anaheim Ducks. So last year's standings, 27 wins and 50 losses. Like Nick always says, we don't count overtime losses on this podcast. Last year's power play ranking, 25th in the league with a lousy 17.9%. I look forward to that going a little bit higher next year. So who's in, who's out? Robbie Fabry, they acquired him via trade. Brian Dumoulin to solidify the back end. I kind of like that pickup. Who's out? Adam Henrique, who was traded at the deadline last year, and Max Jones, who essentially, I think it's safe to say, was a flop. All right, the player tiers.
Sorry, I'm going to add one thing. I know it's not on this list, but technically Cutter Gauthier is another one that was brought in.
Yeah, but he played a game, so I didn't add him when I prepared the notes. But because he played a game last year,
Okay, but it's his first full season, so I just wanted to add him there.
Essentially, yeah, you're right. Gauthier will be playing his first full season this year, if all goes to plan, I guess. So the player tiers, tier 1, 91 points plus projection. Nobody. Same goes for tier 2, 80 to 90 points, and nobody in tier 3, 70 to 79 points. Excuse me. But in tier 4, we have a little bit of a jam. Let's start with Mason McTavish. What do you guys think here? Is he rightfully placed in tier 4, which is 60 to 69 points?
So McTavish hasn't really gotten there in the past. However, in his first full season, where he played 80 games, he got 43 points in those 80 games, pacing for 44 points, right? The next season, which was last season, 64 games played. He scored 19 goals, 23 assists for 42 points. He was pacing for 54. So if the trajectory continues the way it's going, I could say that he hits that 60 mark. However, I do want to put a little caveat on that. It all depends on whether or not he's playing top 6 minutes. Right now, in the line combinations from Daily Faceoff, they have him as a third-line center because of the fact that Zegras is still showing as a second-line center here. So we'll see. We'll see. If he's a third-line center, I don't trust him to hit that 60 points. However, his trajectory is going towards that. And if he continues with top 6 minutes, he will hit it.
Listen, I think he's gonna. I think it's possibility you'll hit the 60 to 69. Not possibility, almost. I'd give it a 85% chance you'll hit it. I don't think he'll be playing third line minutes. I think he'll be playing top 6. I think if anything, Ryan Strome will be pushed down to the third line center, and he'll be pushed on the wing, or Zegras will be pushed on the wing. So I think he's up there. The biggest thing with them is I feel that their power play is going to improve with the Zellwegers and the Michukov and stuff like that. So I feel he's going to hit the 60 to 69, which is, if he does hit the 60 to 69, which is a fantastic progression for him because he's still a young player. And as long as he's progressing, so I think that's the right tier. I don't see him hitting the tier 3 this year.
So, Junior, you own the players. So, again, we're going to put a little asterisk on all the information that you're about to hear from Junior.
Pretty blurry still, huh?
Yeah, we all got blurry except Junior. Because it's your time to talk. That's why.
You go, Junior.
Go ahead, Junior.
I kind of feel like all of the Ducks are going to be taking a step forward this year. I think they're a little bit hyped up with the Cutter Gauthier acquisition. On the back end, they got some good experience last year. I think generally as a team, they take a step forward. So that 54-point pace can easily become 60 plus, right? I don't see him being a third line center, honestly, and it's not because I own him. I think he's a better center than Trevor Zegras. I think Trevor Zegras is more efficient as a left winger with a player like McTavish at center. The question is Zegras going to be in the lineup for Game 1 of the Anaheim Mighty Ducks, right? Considering all the questions we have out there, all the rumors and so on. I expect McTavish to crack the 20 goals. Crack the 20 goals at least and get himself to 60 points. But it'll be fringe, right? He's going to be between that 60 and 65, I think. I think it's gradual steps forward, and that's where I see him going for next year.
Perfect. You want to introduce the next player, Junior?
The next player is who had an off year last year, I think is safe to say. Troy Terry, who is coming off a season of 76 games played, 20 goals, 34 assists, and 54 points.
All right, let me start here. I'm going to start with a caveat. I own him in LPHL.
It's the second time you used that word today.
Be quiet.
Okay.
The reason why...
Hey, we're not blurry anymore.
I know, because I fixed it.
Can I interrupt you one more time?
Oh, my God. Troy Terry had an off season last year, that's for sure. He had... And it's like 11% shooting percentage wasn't the reason, because his last 3-year average is 14%. Like 3% is really not that big of a difference. But however, I will say one thing is that this year he's expected to play probably with Leo Carlson and Cutter Gauthier on a line.
Leo Carlson, who won't be on the game count.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Last year.
Exactly. The power play, we're hoping, gets just a tad better than it was last year, right? Because it's pretty low for the amount of talent that they have. And you just added a Cutter Gauthier. If Zellweger is there or Minchukov is there, full season, you're expecting a little bit more. On average, this player in the last 3 years has been between a 60 and 70 point pace. So I feel that he should be closer to that as opposed to the 58 point pace that he had last year. Do you agree?
Yeah, I don't see him quite hitting the 70 points just yet, but I think we placed them right here, 60 to 69.
Listen, I think the year he had.
By the way,
I'm gonna have a sweater say listen.
No, I'm gonna start counting the amount of times we get listen.
What I wanted to do last week.
So I'm gonna say écoutez.
No, what I really wanted to do last week was the program we use. You could search a word, right?
Oh yes.
So I was gonna search listen and then clip it so that every time you say listen, there's a number count. But I really didn't have enough time.
Definitely not.
But it would have been fun.
Okay, so basically,
no, look, keep saying it. It's your thing. Who cares?
No, not anymore. 2021, 2022. I think that was right off for Troy Terry for 37 goals, 30 assists. I don't think he's a 40 goal scorer in my opinion. At maximum, he might be a 30 goal scorer. Last year, I do think he had an off season. I think that new contract might have bothered him a bit, and not having a steady line mate with him. So I feel at this point he might hit the 30 goals, 30 assists, or 35 assists. So in the 60 to 65 point range.
Okay, so we have him ranked in the right range according to all of us, right?
Yeah. I think Anaheim is just still very young. and not very talented to have any player ranked more than 70 points.
As they
just-
mature and as they
Yeah.
get better,
Mm-hmm.
I do see multiple 70-point players.
Yeah, 100%.
Like Leo Carlson, who we're not going to talk about now, but
Well, you
maybe we
can.
should,
Yeah,
right?
sure. Go ahead.
But Leo Carlson, I'm expecting him to be 70 to 80 in his first
In his prime.
in his prime. I'm expecting him to be a point per game
Yeah, 80 to 90. That's what I was
in his prime.
Yeah,
in his prime. In the next couple of
Third,
years,
second overall?
yeah.
You're
Well,
not expecting a point per game in second overall?
guys, last year,
Yeah, but it was also
He's-
surprise picks.
Yeah, but he's a phenomenal player.
I agree. 100%.
Last year, he would have easily... What did he hit with this... Last year, his points
29 points in 59,
he only
55
played
games.
55 games, 43-point pace,
Yeah.
Which
For
is-
a rookie, is not bad.
which is
No.
Logan Cooley numbers.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Right?
just to clarify, 29 points in 55 games. The poor guy didn't even have a chance to like get in a
rhythm.
groove, in a rhythm because well,
was the bottle that fell?
all good. So like I was saying, Carlson didn't really get a chance to get in a rhythm. Oh my god. Someone's thermos keeps falling. Anyway, so Leo Carlson, ladies and gentlemen, we have a hot take here. In his prime, will be a point per game player.
I don't think that's a hot take. I think that's pretty much.
No, I just think it's hard to project that far ahead when he's only played half a season.
Yeah, but he's looked good.
He's looked really
He's
good.
looked good.
He's looked really
He's-
good.
Yeah, he's looked better than people thought
But
he
yeah,
was.
he'll push a point per game for sure, I think.
And as soon as the people around him get better, he'll get better, right? So 100%, this guy's a point-a-game player once he gets a few years under his belt in the NHL.
If not better.
Yeah,
I mean,
oh, listen, it could be. So the other player that we had in the tier 4, 6, 6, 9 is controversial, but Trevor Zegras.
well, Zegras all comes down to whether or not he's welcomed by the team and how he reacts to this, right? Because we know that he was in trade speculation all off season, and they didn't trade him. So now you're an unwanted guy in a situation where you're expected to put up points. I just don't like the mix. I don't like the confidence that gives this player to go ahead and put up those points. You're expecting him to go out and do it because of the fact that he wants other teams to see him. I don't think it works that way. I just don't.
I think he's gonna hit the tier 3 points this year.
Wow.
Wow.
I think he's gonna hit the 70, like close 70s, like 70 to 75 points this year. I really do. I really think he has something to prove. If he really wants out of Anaheim and the asking price that Anaheim is asking for,
Okay, here's my
he needs
question
to
to you.
put up the points.
Did they change coaches last year?
No, but did he change his attitude?
I mean, his coach last year played him 17 minutes a game.
Which is not bad for a forward.
It's not great.
It's not great.
It's not great for a
six.
top six guy.
Top
But-
6, 17 minutes.
The year before, he played 18 minutes and 50 seconds. The year before.
Yeah, but
That was the only year that he hit
Oh,
65 points.
okay,
66.
so let me rebuttal. All that speculation about Zegras was happening while he was injured, correct?
Correct.
He missed after playing 20 games. He got hurt and came back for the final 11 games. In those final 11 games, 8 points in 11 games. So in terms of attitude and in terms of coach's trust, I get it. The games probably didn't count as much back then, like late in the season, especially for the Ducks. But he still produced, and he still got 24 shots on goal on 11 games played. 2 goals, 6 assists, 8 points. A minute 47 on the power play, which is not much. That's something that worries me just a little bit in terms of what you said about coaching, right?
So I just took your stats. 8 points in 11 games. That's a 59-point pace.
60 points. Right. That's where we have him ranked. I mean, but
That's where we
he's
have him
got the talent to go to the next tier, but everything has to come together. Situation, line mates,
coach has to
coaches,
trust him.
right?
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, it stressed me a little less seeing him come back after all that speculation and the coach still like that situation still made him an 8-point player in 11 games. Like, we'll see how it goes
guys,
to start the season.
He has the talent. I'm not saying he doesn't.
No,
have
no,
the
I know.
talent.
But Cologne played 18 minutes and 44 seconds. Average 18 minutes.
That's
and
almost
44
2
seconds.
minutes. That's almost 2 minutes
Yeah, but
more than
that's
Zegras.
ridiculous. Cologne does not deserve that time on ice, especially with the points he put up. You can't tell me the coach is going to put him out there again for 19 minutes, Alex Cologne.
If the coach doesn't trust Zegras, he'll put Killorn.
But there's nothing.
Or he'll put Leo Carlson.
But there's nothing to trust because the Anaheim Ducks are not a playoff team.
They don't like him. They don't want to trade him.
Yeah, I understand. But if you want to trade,
If you're at work, you tell me, okay? And maybe you have some experience in this.
But
field.
at work, we can't trade we can't trade employees at work.
But they did.
No,
They
but
basically traded you off for someone else in your situation.
yes, I know. But what I'm saying with this is that
Did you feel motivated?
why
to go into work every day?
coming.
It's
No, I'm sorry.
It's different.
When you knew that it was coming and you were still coming into
What
work.
I'm saying here is, if Anaheim's smart, they put this guy in the right state of mind to get what they want as trade. Because right now, anybody you're asking, or anybody that's asking about Zegras, they're all coming back with the same thing, which is the price is way too high. So to me, if you're Anaheim and you really want to get rid of this guy, you play him 19, 18 minutes a game and you make him show that he can play in the NHL.
Well,
His attitude is going to determine a lot of that.
100%.
Well, look,
Because if he comes in with his mouth like this,
A frown.
a frown on his mouth, and if he comes in being a cancer in the dressing room because he knows he's not wanted by the team anymore, and he knows he's not trusted by the coach anymore, then I could see them lowering his ice time.
I'll end it with this.
Communication.
His line mates during those 8 points in 11 games were either Vetrano and Strome, Vetrano and Colangelo, or Strome and Gauthier. And Gauthier only played like 2 games. So with a better surrounding and maybe more power play time, I think he can easily hit that 60 points. But like you said, everything has to come together.
I don't like the work situation that he's in. And if I'm trying to,
But that's brought upon himself, right? It's
Yes,
him. It's not the situation. It's him.
Well, if you have a boss that comes in and doesn't like you, you don't. I mean, I'm still gonna go in and try to do the best I can, but I'm not gonna have that motivation the way I had it before.
But it's different in this case because the only way he could keep going, because he still has another year. So he's got 2 full seasons left under contract. So he has to be motivated to play because your company is not going to trade you to another company.
Yes,
they might
they
just
will.
let you go.
No,
They might
No,
just let you go.
They're not gonna let him go.
No, but you,
Oh,
you're,
you're saying me. Yes,
you,
yes, they might
right?
let me
It's
go.
different. You
Yeah.
don't necessarily have to be motivated. They let you go, and then you go choose your own place. He's not a pending UFA. He's got another year left. So he's like, if they want to trade me, to Vince's point, I got to play and produce so that I can go to
no, because
I don't agree with that at all.
when do people
They can
get
trade him anytime.
when do people get paid the most? Or
Under contract year.
overpaid
Under contract year.
in free agency.
Yeah.
Free agency, yeah.
So he doesn't care if he goes into free agency hitting.
No, he's going to be
60
RFA,
points.
though. He's not going to be for UFA.
Yeah, but, okay, but even though this is all
He's
on,
still under Anaheim
this is
control.
all on this is going to be on Anaheim to sit him down and say, listen, this is what happened. This is in the past. If you want things to get better, this is what we need you to do. If at some point we're still not together and we still can't get things together, we still need you to produce to get the best out of it. So to him, like, he does, mind you, I was gonna say he doesn't want to get traded, but it's not like Anaheim is a top team. So even if he gets
I'm pretty
traded,
sure he wouldn't mind.
no, but even if he gets traded to San Jose, I think he wouldn't mind because at the end of the day, it's still
Yeah, unlikely,
hard.
but...
Yeah. So
All right, that's an interesting topic.
it's gonna be a
I'd like to know what
communication
people think. Maybe
Yeah,
we'll throw
please.
it out there. What does
Guys.
What's the future for Zegras?
Talk to us. Discussion. This is what we do.
We'll put out a poll.
We like having discussions about these kind of things, and let us know who you think is right, and we'll go from there.
Yeah,
Nick
worst case,
already
Nick will
wrong
do a mea
once.
culpa. Okay, let's go to the goalie tandem. So we had Lucas Dostal last year with a save percentage of 0.902, a goals against average of 3.33, ranked 51st in the league on 5-on-5 goals save above expected. Pas fort, not good at all. His counterpart Gibson, save percentage of 888 and a goals against average of 3.54. His goal save above expected ranked 60th. And now the goal save above expected ranking is based off 20 games played or more.
Correct.
Like Nick usually asks, but I'll ask, how many teams in the league?
32.
All right.
32,
So they
Junior.
rank 60th and 51st in a 32-team league. Yikes.
Well, look, when we talk about 5-on-5 goals saved above expected, we're usually trying to determine, regardless of how good the team is in front of them, how they performed, right? That's what the whole point of this advanced stat is. And both goalies just didn't perform very well. It is what it is. Now, can that change? Dostal is still very young. Dostal is somebody that's still learning his way in the NHL. I'm expecting him to keep taking steps forward. Remember how before we spoke about Zegras not wanted and potentially traded and so on? Well, Gibson has been in trade talks, I think, the last 5 years. And Gibson still hasn't performed, even though he's been in trade talks for the last 5 years.
It's a sign for things to come for Zegras, maybe.
Maybe. So, unfortunately, I actually think both these goalies are very good goalies. I think that they will, at least Dostal will continue to improve as he's getting better and better in the NHL, getting more experience in the NHL. I've lost a lot of faith in Gibson. I owned him for a long time. I traded him away, and it appears that he is continuing a downward trend. So, I don't know.
Listen. You listen.
Shit, write it down.
Write it down. But listen. I'll even say it 3 times. Listen.
Okay, stop now. I'm running out of ink.
If you put a Hall of Fame goalie behind this team, their numbers are not going to look very good. Like, this is like a San Jose type of experiment where, yes, the goalie's stats are terrible, but you can't tell me the people in front of them are very good. Their defense is very young, unexperienced. Their forwards are young and unexperienced. So once again, I don't blame. I don't see Dostal and Gibson being fantasy relevant this year because they're playing on a crummy team. But
Crummy. I like that word.
I like
at,
that.
at the end of the day, Gibson
Crummy.
once again is where he is because of the Anaheim Ducks. Because they want the moon and the stars for this player who who hasn't performed because of them. And I feel this is just it's a downfall on Gibson because at the end of the day, Gibson, you put him on a team, you put him on the Pittsburgh Penguins, his numbers are going to be better than this. You put him on a contending team in a playoff, his numbers are going to be better.
I think.
So listen, I don't think any of these two goalies are.
Keep the pen.
Yeah, just keep it on your right hand. I don't think any of these two goalies are fantasy relevant. I think it's going to be 50-50. The percentage of games they're going to play. They're each going to play probably 41 games. And at the end of the day, I think Dostal is the future of this team. And Anaheim needs to get their shit together and just get whatever they can for Gibson.
I agree. Dostal is the future of this team. I think he is relevant in dynasty leagues for sure. I think once this team is ready to win, they could build they're building something nice for sure. I think Gibson is just overrated, and I think especially veteran goalies, and he's like a young vet, 31 years old. I think they find ways to stay relevant, right? Even if his team is not good, I still expect his goals above expected to be a little bit higher.
I agree.
Just because of his talent, right? You mentioned putting a great goalie on this team. I think they'll make saves out of nothing.
I don't think he's motivated.
I think it's mental. That's what I was getting at. I think the biggest thing here is I think it's mental. I think he's been in a rebuilding team for so long that he doesn't know what it's like to be motivated to win. You know what I mean? But from a fantasy standpoint, unfortunately, I don't want nothing to do with Gibson, especially in cap leagues at $6.4 million. I'd rather have Dostal at under $1 million for 40 games.
All right, moving on.
Moving on to the top prospects of this team, which is actually no, we're gonna go to power play demon, right?
Sure.
I put Mintyukov here, and Zellweger, even though daily faceoff doesn't have Zellweger projected to be in the top 6, which I find a little bit surprising, to be honest. But odds are it's going to be Zellweger, Mintyukov, maybe Cam Fowler. I mean, for sure in Dynasty Leagues, Mintyukov and Zellweger are super relevant, right? You wanna try to acquire them. I don't know. Is it because I own him that I think Zellweger might be more point producer than Mintyukov, or is it just recency bias?
I think eventually you're going to see Zellweger being a bigger point producer than Mintyukov, but as an all-around defenseman,
Mintyukov, yeah.
Playing big minutes, I see Mintyukov taking that mantle. They have Lacombe starting. We're not sure if it's going to be Lacombe, if it's going to be Luneau, if it's going to be maybe somebody else there on that 6th spot. But I have a little bit more faith in Mintyukov, and you own him as well in a league, so I shouldn't be looking at you. But I feel like Mintyukov is going to be a better player overall and maybe top power play guy over Zellweger sooner rather than later. Now, can Zellweger end up taking over that mantle? Yes, because he has that offensive pedigree. But is he going to be in the NHL this year? It's still a coin flip. You can't be like if you're in a fantasy league, you can't be relying on Zellweger when you don't even know if he's going to make it.
I have to rely on Zellweger, so he better freaking make it.
Just make a trade, Junior.
No.
Just make a trade.
No.
I'm right here.
I
can use him.
I believe, and this is going to be controversial.
Do you own him?
No, but I think Zellweger is the same case as Lane Hudson, where he's a power play specialist. So he's going to get PP1. The problem is his 5-on-5 points. I think Mintyukov is going to get much more 5-on-5 points than Zellweger because, as Nick said, Mintyukov is going to be a better all-around player. So I feel Zellweger is going to be, his points are going to be based on that power play. And as soon as that power play starts struggling, he's going to be the first guy that they take out, and then Mintyukov will be the next guy up. So, but I still don't feel like Zellweger is going to be a 70-point defenseman. I mean, it's not going there. I feel Zellweger, his points will be based on how he does on the power play. Mintyukov, on the other side, I believe his points will be based on all-around play. And that'll be the difference between them two.
All right. Well, Zellweger could have also been listed here as our top prospects, but we just spoke about him, so we're not going to talk about him more. We already spoke about Leo Carlsson. We had a video on Beckett Seneke getting drafted with his shocked face that he went 3rd overall, which is fun, so you guys should watch that. He's not going to make it to the
Over
team.
2,000 views.
Oh, really? The Seneke one?
On TikTok.
Oh, on TikTok. Nice. Cutter Gauthier. I mean, Daily Faceoff has him projected as a top line left wing with Zegras on his right and Leo Carlsson in the middle. That's going to be pretty cool if it ends up being that.
But can you expect more than 40 points from Cutter Gauthier this year?
I personally do not, because I believe that Cutter Gauthier is going to have that rookie, sensational rookie season, which is still not going to be fantasy relevant, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. Maybe a little bit of a waiver wire guy, maybe a little bit of a dynasty.
In spurts, right? In spurts. He'll go on little runs here.
Look,
and there.
dynasty-wise, I love Cutter Gauthier on this team. And I know I traded him away to you for Brendan Hagel.
For a championship.
But I won a championship out of it, and Hagel played a role in that. So I can't fault myself for trading away Cutter Gauthier, but it was a player that I really liked at the beginning, which is the reason why I drafted him anyways. We spoke about Zellweger a little bit. If he makes the team, you're expecting him to be a power play specialist.
And a third pairing defenseman.
Third pairing defenseman for this year at least. Yeah. If he doesn't make the team, well, he might get more than a cup of coffee, but it won't be fantasy relevant for this year.
No.
Future-wise, still a great person to have in Dynasty.
Anybody who plays PP1 is a good player to have.
We already spoke about Mintyukov. We're not going to talk about him again. Tristan Luneau, somebody that I own, so maybe I shouldn't speak about him, but supposedly he's a highly transitional player that could bring the offense and still be responsible defensively. So between him and Lacombe, because I think they're both right-handed D, and they're both expected to be coming up soon, that's where I'm looking at who's maybe a little bit older. Steven Solberg is supposed to be a hard-hitting defensive
Solid,
defenseman.
robust.
Solid defensive. So in your hit leagues, that's something that you could look at there, but probably doesn't have a lot of points upside. I still drafted him in Lama, even though it's a points league, because you never know. You never know. And then Damien Clara is their goalie prospect, which they already have Dostal. So I think Dostal and Clara are going to be it going forward as 1A, 1B, but we'll see. Anybody have anything to talk about these prospects?
I just want to add, because you guys didn't give me a take on Zellweger and Mintyukov, but anyways, it doesn't matter.
You're going to be wrong on your take anyways.
No, I'm just spitting out facts here. Zellweger, average time on ice, 19 minutes. Average power play time on ice, 1:45 per game. Mintyukov, 18 minutes average time on ice, 156 on the power play.
What's your sample size?
Not much, 20
There you
games. Actually, Mintyukov more.
Mintyukov played 46 games.
Mintyukov
46 games, Zellweger less games. But played more.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, but Zellweger...
I'm just saying...
At the point that they got
tit for
eliminated...
tat.
At the point that they got eliminated from the playoffs,
Yeah.
They got eliminated from the playoffs of game one.
No, but
I mean, let's be honest.
the time Zellweger came in...
that's not how a coach thinks.
The time they made Zellweger come in, they said in their heads, they're like, we need to give this guy ice time and power play time to see what we have.
We need to see
What's going to change next year?
What?
They're not going to give him
It's
play
a full season.
Now it's a full season.
Mintyukov started there from the season, got injured. And the only reason Zellweger got in is because Mintyukov got injured.
Well, that's
like
already
I
a
said-
flag up there, right?
Like I said, I think Zellweger will get power play one. But as soon as they start struggling, Mintyukov
But
will be
my
there
point with this was Mintyukov actually averaged more power play time.
because he was there more games.
So is this a 6'1" versus 5'9" debate, or is this
No,
just
this is just a small
no,
sample
okay.
size. You
Exactly.
can't,
just
you can't
checking
base
because you guys
anything.
know size matters.
Okay, Nick, finish it
Well,
off with Anaheim before
If you
I
ask,
suplex
you're-
Junior.
no, okay, I'm not going to stop it there. Final thoughts. Well, 12th best net offseason upgrades according to Dom Luszczyszyn's model. So they improved, and I think a lot of that has to do with Cutter Gauthier, actually. Although Dumoulin and Fabry are good players, losing Henrique, he was just a third-line center
exactly.
anyways at that point, so I don't think they're really worried about that. It is time the Ducks take a step forward this year, but not quite good enough to enter the playoff race, according to
No.
Junior.
Junior.
No, what I meant, they're not competing for a playoff spot, but they need to be better. They need to show progress.
I think they just need to show who their young kids are. Play them. You're not going anywhere. Play them.
I think they're building their team from the back to the front. They have very good young defensive prospects, and their forward prospects are already there. So they just need to put it all together. But they're far away from competing for a playoff spot. So
I agree. And I'm not going to be surprised if I put them last in this division.
100%. Team.
When we do our
I don't think they're
projections.
that far ahead, guys.
Ooh.
That far behind, sorry. I don't think they're competing for a playoff spot now, but McTavish should be. No, McTavish, Troy Terry is already established, correct?
Yeah, but he's an established.
He's not consistent, but he's
he's
established.
a 60-point player.
Yeah, but because he's playing with rookie centers,
He's been on pace for 70 points.
right? If McTavish, once he establishes himself and can be 70 points, maybe 60 points. If Leo Carlson could be that point per game player and Troy Terry's on his wing, is Troy Terry not going to be closer to a point per game?
Right, but we did say that Leo
Trevor
Carlson
Zegras,
is several years away from that point per game. I think McTavish is several years away from that.
What I'm saying is that
of if ever.
they're going to show progress. How many teams make the playoffs with not many point per game players?
Okay, but so you're saying that internal
I just think they're
growth-
closer than we think.
I think Chicago has internal growth as well, but they're still not close.
And I'll end it by saying this is I think they're closer than we think because some of their guys are most of their young guys are established. Those that once they get close to being established, they're going to complete them with established players in free agency or via trade or etc.
They've been rebuilding. I feel they've been rebuilding a lot longer than the Habs have.
And the Habs are ahead of them.
And I feel like the Habs are ahead of them. I'm not very confident so far, but I do see a lot of light at the end of the tunnel.
Why are we laughing?
Because Anaheim actually on Dom's list was 6th best offseason, not 12th. 12th was the Dallas Stars, which we did last
Can I
week.
ask you a question?
That
Vince?
was a mistake you made.
No, I made
No?
the mistake.
Who made the list?
I prepared the project.
Who
this year.
prepared
This is why
This week?
Junior should not prepare the project. Okay,
Good
so-
times.